it's different for each person, but I would say most of the people have spent their time, trying out new recipes. Some people have spent their time, baking. Others, have just spent their time driving around. You really can't, during this time, you really haven't been able to get out of your car, but you've been allowed to drive. So some people have, been spending time driving around. I would say what most people have been able to do that unites us all is spending time on their phones.
The people in my area mostly occupying their time during this period, sitting down with their families and having reflections on the way forward, and also waiting for the government's announcement on guidelines for our actions. Some are also taking time to reunite with their children and their spouses.
To my understanding, people are working because we cannot afford a strict confinement. So officially the confinement begins only in the afternoons when shops, markets and offices are closed and when there's no more public transport.
The way Ivorian people choose to spend their time during this global pandemic is greatly influenced by their perception of the virus and the extent to which they are being affected by its economic and social consequences. There are some citizens who do not believe in the existence of the virus because they have not seen someone infected in their immediate surrounding.
Mostly, I can say so far, so good. But because nobody prepares for crisis, there may be some lapses somewhere. But generally, people are happy.
I'm originally from Uganda, and I'm going to answer these questions in relation to Uganda. So I would say President Museveni has handled the response pretty well, especially in preventing entrance into the country. Our border posts have been closed for people when they have trucks coming in delivering goods, and the airport as well has been closed. So that, in some sense, has helped us in terms of controlling COVID-19. But in terms of reaching out to people that have, been affected, the most vulnerable populations, there's generally been a very slow response from government. The government has allocated a lot of money, also received a lot of money from people, basically people, independent organizations. But in terms of distributing food to the most vulnerable people, it has been very, very slow.
Yeah, certainly I think there will be, but I don't know to what extent. An impact analysis has been conducted and will be included in the mitigation plan, which is currently being finalized and approved by the government for public diffusion.
Yes, I believe there will be long-term consequences for Ivory Coast. The expected GDP growth rate for 2020 was 7.5% before the epidemic, but the government response to the crisis have had a negative impact on the economy. It caused a slowdown in economic activity and a negative shock on investor confidence. So according to the IMF, the expected GDP growth rate for 2020 will actually be 2.7%.
I say yes. Yes, because people are becoming more caring. People are just giving out what they can to support other people. So in this period, we have seen a lot of people lending a hand, giving support to individuals and institutions. And I think that this will go a long way to have a positive effect on our society, what the South African will call Ubuntu. You are because I am.
I'm very skeptical because from the response, that we have seen, like recently I talked to my auntie that lives in the village. People in the villages have not really changed the way they live their lives. So, they still, I was talking to my aunt, she was telling me they still go to the bar and, have a drink, So in the cities, people are taking precaution and, they're staying inside their house. But, about 75% of Uganda's population lives in rural areas. So on a large scale, I don't see this disease, changing people's behavior.
Yes, the situation will change people's behavior in my country, but it is hard to predict the details. So my hopes are that they will try to get more information and to apply better sanitation and hygiene practices, and also that they will care more about the community welfare.
So far, the most memorable experience for me has been to be able to spend some quality time with my family and also to catch up with my childhood friends.
My most memorable experience of the pandemic so far is the women in data science London. It might sound controversial, but due to the pandemic, I could virtually attend that one-day event away from home with a proper networking session.
So for me, the most memorable experience has been working from home. It's something I've never done, but being able to set my own schedule, and cook some homemade meals while I work, that has been an awesome experience.
Wow. I am a father of 3, and I will never forget this experience where my kids were supposed to write their exams at home, and I have to supervise the exams. And I will never forget in my life what this experience means to me. Thank you very much.